Hello, everybody. Welcome back into another Monday edition of Prob Sports World. I'm your host, David On Point. Right there is from the Daily Blitz.blog, Mr. Christian Simpson. And before we get into it, we want to wish everyone a happy and a healthy Halloween, my friends. I got my pirate hat on here today. I got my pirate gloves. I got my bling on here, my pirate bling. But it is very hard to wear with the headset on, so I probably won't wear it that long. Actually, I'm going to stop wearing it right now. But hopefully everybody's having a really nice Halloween. I've been David Huffman. Let's get into talking about week number 8. And if you're looking for consistent content on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, you've come to the right place. We go live basically every single day, bringing the most up-to-date content. So please continue checking us out. Please like, share, and subscribe to the show. We will always bring you guys good content, including on Wednesday. We are going to give you a trade deadline show. We're talking about the National Football League. Trade deadline is tomorrow. I've already seen a lot of action in the National Football League. Some of it we'll talk about here today. Some of it maybe we'll wait to that Wednesday show. So keep an eye out for that content. And again, David Huffman, Christian Simpson. Christian, happy Halloween, my friend. I don't know if you're a big Halloween guy or what your stance is on Halloween, but happy Halloween.
Yeah.
And welcome into the show, CEO of Prime Swimmers, Israel Rivera. Sorry, Christian, go ahead.
Look, man, I don't get the kids candy. I give them ramen noodles. They say trick or treat. I say chicken and beef.
Give him a pack of ramen noodles, man. What? Yeah, that's like equivalent to giving them cold, Christian.
What is that?
Listen. What would you rather? What would you rather me give them? Funky ass ramen or my busted mixtape?
You know what? Hey, yeah, no. Shout out to all the kids. Make sure you check your candy when you get your when you get your bag filled. Make sure you don't trick or treat after 8:00 because ain't nobody opening them damn doors. Mugs got to go to sleep and go to work tomorrow morning.
I know that's right.
Also, it is dangerous to do it that late at night. And if you're under the age of like 13, 14, you should be accompanied with an adult. Yes. And shout out to my son, Lil Izzy, who's out with his mother trick or treating.
Nephew.
What is he dressed up as this year?
He is dressed up as one of the Fortnite character, the Banana King Fortnite character guy. I forget his name.
I don't know who that is, but I'll take your word for it.
He's one of the Fortnite characters. I'm gonna shoot you guys an image of him. I'm gonna shoot you guys an image of him, a picture of him in his Halloween costume. I took him to school this morning, and he was with all the kids. I saw all the kids in their costumes. Some interesting costumes that people send their kids to school in today. But nonetheless,
my cat, I dressed her up. She's a bumblebee.
Oh Lord!
She is currently extremely upset with me right now. So
I'm actually gonna drop the photo in there. You can start the show, but I'm gonna drop the photo in the chat right now.
Yeah, I will send a picture of my cat later too. But let's get into some football action. That's what you guys are all here for. Let's talk about the first game. Let's talk about Thursday night football. We got the Baltimore Ravens going into Raymond James Stadium, coming out with the W over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 27-22. Lamar Jackson, 27-38, 238, 2 touchdowns. Gus Edwards, 11 carries for 65 yards. Isaiah Likely came in after Mark Andrews got hurt in this game. I don't think it's anything serious for Andrews, but 6 catches for 77 yards and a touchdown. Kenyon Drake, also had a receiving touchdown for the Baltimore Ravens. Tom Brady on the other side for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 26-44, 325 and a tutty. Leonard Fournette, Lombardi Lenny, 9 carries for 24 yards and a touchdown. Mike Evans led this team in receiving yards, 9 catches for 123 yards. Julio Jones had the lone receiving touchdown in the game. Gentlemen.
This was Baltimore's best win of the year because they were in control for most of the game. And when I look at Baltimore in the first half, they were trying to throw Tampa Bay's defense off. They came out throwing the ball heavily. lots of screen passes, lots of dink and dumps, and not really getting to their bread and butter. And Tampa Bay, they weren't really fooled, but then Baltimore made those adjustments in the second half, got back to their bread and butter, running the football. Then that helped open up the passing game down the field. Tampa, look, there's a cause for concern because there's no energy, there's no intensity, David and Izzy. There's no fight. It just seems like they're all giving up. They're committing silly penalties. Guys are dropping wide open passes that they would catch in their sleep, as TJ would say. Defensively, they're gassed. They're not getting off the snap. They're getting pushed off the line of scrimmage 4 and 5 yards per play, and there's no accountability. Like I said, Todd Bowles just isn't getting the job done.
Yeah, I think on the Ravens side, there's a lot to like for the Ravens side. I mean, you found something there in Isaiah Lively, and I'm not sure how long Mark Andrews is going to be about, but I think if he's going to be for any period of time, I think they'll be okay with their tight end depth that they have there. They've done a good job building that depth up.
Yeah, he really, the Christian hit it on the nail. Hit the nail on the head during the game. He does remind me a lot of Vernon Davis. He's got a little bit of some Delaney Walker in him. That kid's, the sky's the limit for that kid. He might be the next great tight out of all the tight ends that we've seen so far this season. Daniel Bellinger is another one. He's pretty consistent. But this kid right here, you could see he's got the route tree, he's got the speed, he's got the size, he's got the length, he's got he's got it. He's got it. And he could be one of those guys that can be like a unicorn at the tight end position because he runs routes like a wide receiver. Let's just put it out like that. When I look,
a lot of tight ends do that now.
Because now the position.
Tight ends nowadays aren't just blocking tight ends, right? That's how they used to use them back in the day. This kid, he's going to slot and kill you. On the Buccaneers side, Christian hit it on the head too. I mean, no accountability, man. That defense is soft, man. I'm so used to, seeing that defense being able to stop the run. I'm so, used to seeing that defense being able to be physical, and they're just not physical enough at the point of attack. When I look at the rush, the carries, 15 carries. I mean, you weren't completely out of this game at all, and you literally just abandoned the run and said, "Hey, Tom, throw the ball 44 times." That's not gonna get it done. That's not gonna get it done. You gotta give Leonard Fournette the ball more than how many times did he get it? 12 times.
He had 9 carries in this game.
9
I think.
carries and 3 receptions, 3 targets. He caught all 3 of his receptions. Leonard Fournette should be getting the ball at least 20 to 25 times a game.
I agree. I mean, he's probably their second best offensive weapon right now, with Chris Godwin being kind of in and out of the lineup. No stability at all at the tight end position.
That falls on Byron Leftwich and a little bit of Tom Brady too, because I know Tom is old enough. He's got the cachet in the league. He's got the cachet. He's the greatest of all time in this generation. He's got the say so to say, hey, we got to run the football. He could check it out, but he's not doing that. He's throwing the football. I think he's a little bit trying to get Chris Godwin and Mike Evans and all those guys. He's trying to get that passing game going, but it's just not. He's threw for 325 yards, but it's just that's not an effective way to move the ball and win football games, right? So I look at Baltimore. This is their most complete defensive performance, in my opinion, this year. Kudos. If they could play like this the rest of the year, they'll be in good shape.
Yeah, so, and
Lamar Jackson made some. I mean, he made some really good throws. I mean, I know some people were oh, what the hell is he like people were making fun of him on some certain throws in which he was getting out of the way and he was kind of backing out of the pocket and he's and throwing it out of bounds. I'm like, dude, he avoided a sack. He's avoiding sacks out there and then he's throwing darts out there to people. So yeah,
I totally agree. I mean, this is the Ravens. I mean, this is a good move, and they just got stronger again today. I mean, trading for Roquan Smith and a deal I really like for both sides. I wish the Bears got a little more out of it. We'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, the Ravens should feel really good about this victory.
Yeah, definitely. And I knew coming into the game, it was going to be tough for Tampa because one, Baltimore and Tom Brady have history. They always know how to play him. You know, that they're a physical group. They throw him off his spot. Like, look at how many times you saw Tom scrambling outside the pocket. That's how you beat him.
Yeah.
Pressure up the middle, flush him out the pocket, force him to make that throw off his back foot. Like, you got to throw him off his spot.
And this offensive line hasn't doing him very many favors either. They haven't been good at all this season. Moving on from there, we're going to go across the pond into London, with the Denver Broncos played against the Jacksonville Jaguars. It came out the W 21-17. Russell Wilson came back from injury after missing 1 week. 18 of 30, 252, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Latavius Murray, leading rusher for the Denver Broncos, 14 of 46 for a tutty. Melvin Gordon also had a touchdown in this game. Jerry Jeudy caught the lone receiving touchdown for the Denver Broncos. On the Jacksonville Jaguar side of this, Trevor Lawrence, a little bit of bad, a little bit of good. 18 of 31, 133 yards, a touchdown, and 2 interceptions. Travis Etienne, probably his best game as a pro. They traded away James Robinson during the week. 24 carries for Travis Etienne, 156 yards, and a touchdown. Evan Ingram had the lone receiving touchdown for the Jacksonville Jaguars. But yeah, Denver kind of needed this win for sure.
Yeah, they definitely did, and I think Nathaniel Hackett saved his job. I don't think they would have let him back on the team charter. If he had lost this one, they would have probably took him out for tea and crumpets, and they would have left him in London. Nah, seriously, but you ain't flying,
coach. You ain't flying business class. You're flying.
Is he just broke up?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Nah, David. But this was a must-win for Denver. They got to run the football. Russell was in control of the game. Defensively, they did some good things too. Jacksonville had opportunities to really get in the driver's seat of this game, and they just couldn't capitalize upon them.
Yeah, I think, I didn't get a chance to watch this game because it started very early. But I mean, all these people, like, this is a game Denver had to win, and like when your back's against the wall, the pressure's on. That's usually when Russell Wilson performs his best. He wasn't necessarily like locked in this game as you would expect of Russell Wilson to play. I mean, 18 of 30, 252, touchdown, 1 pick. It's not really Russell Wilson-esque numbers, but it's certainly an improvement over what they were doing a couple of weeks prior.
Exactly.
And
I'm still not impressed with the offense, though.
Of course not. I mean,
offense. They punt. They finally. I mean, I'm glad to see Melvin Gordon finally punched one in the red zone, albeit it's against the Jaguars. But yeah, I'm still not impressed with that offense. It's supposed to be better, especially with all the talent he has. Hey, shout out to Mr. Big Dochek. He had a good game. I called him out in fantasy. We'll get to that on Wednesday. But when you got Jerry Jeudy, KJ Hamler, Cortland Sutton, I expect more production than 9 catches out of all 3 of those guys.
Yeah, and I mean, Jacksonville 1 time possession. They had more first downs. I mean, the big difference was the 2 turnovers for Jacksonville, only 1 for Denver. If you're a Denver Broncos fan, sure you won the game, but I don't think you feel great about it.
No, and also I'm going to say this on the other side, on the flip side, Travis Etienne. This is why you stick with the process for guys. I mean, last year, he was hurt or whatever the case is. This year, you get rid of James Robinson. Now you're starting to see the talent. He was the best running back in college. Remember, Christian, he was the best running back for a couple years in college football. And now you're starting to see talent translate to the NFL. He can do a little bit of everything. Jacksonville is still a young team, learning how to win football games. I think they'll get there. But that's a step in the right direction with Travis Etienne. I still want to see a little bit more out of Trevor Lawrence. The mistakes, he's still making the same mistakes. This isn't an easy defense to play against. Now, I'll say that. But the mistakes are still there. I want him to tweak it up and get a little bit better. But, he's a little inconsistent still in year 2. But I think, it's some progress for the Jacksonville Jaguars this season.
100%. Going back across the pond, we're going to start with the first game on Sunday afternoon. The Carolina Panthers going into Atlanta. Atlanta coming out with the last second field goal in overtime by Younghoe Koo, winning 37-34, which was a banger shootout. Carolina scored 21 points in the fourth quarter to tie this game up. PJ Walker, solid game here, 19 of 36, 317 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Deontay Foreman, who I did not start in fantasy. I started Damian Harris over him. 26 for 118, 3 touchdowns. DJ Moore finally decided he wanted to show up this week. 6 catches for 152 yards and a touchdown. On the Atlanta Falcons side of this, Marcus Mariota continues to play fairly well for them. 20 to 28, 253, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Caleb Huntley, I believe from Ball State, as the running back there for the Atlanta Falcons, 16 of 91. Kyle Pitts, Damian Byrd, and Tyler Algier all had receiving touchdowns for the Atlanta Falcons as they get another victory. And they've looked at themselves as the number 1 seed right now, I think, in the NFC South. If the players were to start today, they'd be in.
Can I go first? Sorry about this.
Go ahead.
Probably, first of all, that was probably the best throw that I've seen all year that PJ Walker made with 17 seconds left in the NFL, in the game. Probably the best throw I've seen. That probably the best throw you're going to see all year. That was a dime. It was a dart. It was pressure situation right to DJ Moore. And then immediately after, DJ Moore gets an unsportsmanlike conduct by taking off his helmet, pushing the PAT 15 yards back, in which Eddie Pinheiro, you're a professional kicker, and you know Eddie Pinheiro very well, David. He used to kick for your Chicago Bears. He missed not only
we're using the word kicked lightly there.
He was a kicker. He was a kicker for the Chicago Bears.
He didn't survive very long.
I know, but he was still a kicker for you guys. He missed not only one PAT, he missed the PAT, but then he missed the chip shot. A chip shot in overtime. But also, I hate that unsportsmanlike conduct penalty in a way, but in a way, I guess, rules are rules.
Don't take your helmet off. Don't make a boneheaded play and take your helmet off. Like, it just doesn't make any sense.
Moore knows better. But Eddie Pinheiro needs to make those kicks, at least one of those kicks, right, David?
Oh, sure, but I don't put yourself behind the 8 ball by getting a stupid penalty.
Yeah, exactly.
You know the rules.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, look, your team's in the driver's seat.
Field goal, though?
Your team's in the driver's seat to win a football game, and you're I don't want to even call it ignorance, but you not thinking is what cost your team a football game. Like, you could be in the driver's seat right now in the NFC South because you have a win over the Saints, you won a game over Tampa, you win this game over Atlanta, and you're in first place right now. Now you're in last place.
Okay. Yeah, Atlanta's in first place right now. So if the players were to start today, this is actually a fairly even game. I mean, 31 minutes to 36 minutes of time possession. Both teams had over 400 yards total offense. Both teams had over 20 first downs in this game. So yeah, this was a fairly even football game. It felt like, these teams were on kind of similar wavelengths.
And Marcus Mariota, man, he's only 28 years old. People forget about that. He's still fairly young in the league. Still fairly young, only 28 years old. And he looked like he's found a niche there in Atlanta, even though he made a real bad interception towards the end of the game. But he can still make plays on his feet, on the ground. He can still make good throws. Marcus Mariota's a guy. I'm not too sure Atlanta goes, hey, Desmond Ridder, let's put him in, next year. Like, I'm not too sure. Like, the way Marcus Mariota's playing, I would stick with him. I'd stick with him.
I mean, they're 500. Let's pump the brakes a little bit here. Let's not hear him pretend. I mean, he did throw 2 interceptions. Let's not pretend like he's been like the second coming here.
I'm not saying he's the second coming. I said he's playing well. Overall,
he's been fine. Moving on from that game, we got my Chicago Bears going into Dallas and losing by 20 points, 49-29. But we did some good things out of this offense finally. 17-23 for Justin Fields, 151 yards and 2 touchdowns. Khalil Herbert and Justin Fields both had rushing touchdowns for the Bears. N'Keal Harry got the lone receiving touchdown for the Chicago Bears. Also, Cole Kmet got one. Sorry about that. On the Dallas side of this, a very good game for Dak Prescott. 21-27, 250 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Tony Pollard, man, big game for Tony Pollard. 14 carries, 131 yards, and 3 touchdowns going up against the Chicago Bears. And CeeDee Lamb, Jake Ferguson had the lone receiving touchdowns for the Dallas Cowboys. Dak Prescott also punched one in on the ground. Zeke Elliott had 0 carries. I believe he was hurt and did play in this game, which explains that.
Yeah, he did not play in the game.
I'll say
Also,
this.
that punch out fumble from David Montgomery was a hell of a play.
I'll say
Oh
this.
yeah. Oh yeah. And you know, Justin Fields jumping over Micah Parsons. You know, you gotta know this ain't college, and you gotta touch the man down. And Micah Parsons ran that. That was actually a turning point, in my opinion, of
It
this football
was.
game.
Yeah, it definitely was. But I like what I saw from Dallas. When Dallas can get that running game going, they're a tough out. When they're physically dominating the line of scrimmage and they're running downhill, that opens the passing game up and that opens the floodgates for Dak Prescott. And, you know, he played a pretty efficient football. What was his stat line again, David?
21 of 27 for 2 touchdowns and an interception. I think he had like 374 yards.
He threw
Bingo.
that.
See,
250 yards. Sorry, 21
good.
of 27, 250 yards, 2 touchdowns and a pick. He also had one on the ground.
That's a bad
touchdown.
pick.
Yeah, it was a bad pick, but when Dak's throwing a ball under 35 times, that's usually a recipe for success for the Dallas Cowboys. He's not that type of quarterback. He's not in the Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes bracket where he can throw the ball over 40 times and your team still has a shot to win. Watch, anytime Dak throws the ball 35 times or more, the Cowboys are going to lose the game. But I love what I saw from them running the ball. Like I said, Tony Pollard, he runs with such energy, and if I'm the Cowboys, I'm sticking with him as my starting running back. You have to because
starting him.
He
you could definitely see a burst that you don't see from Ezekiel Elliott.
Bingo, and on top of that, he provides balance. Dallas wants to run the football.
That's because they ran Zeke so much his first 3 years in the NFL. That's why you don't down. That's why you don't see the explosiveness anymore out of Zeke, but you see it out of Tony Pollard. He's a little bit more fresh and he's explosive, man. I mean, you see a little bit more. You see a different offense, more up tempo, more explosiveness. You know, defenses are more on their heels with Tony Pollard in the game. You know, he can break one. I mean, that third touchdown run. I mean, he was breaking tackles. I mean, and he outran the defense. I mean, that was a thing of beauty. And you know, I think when Zeke comes back, I think he loses some value. I mean, to some fantasy football owners, we'll get to that. But he just loses carries. He loses some carries when he comes back because I think they're going to realize that Tony
Ezekiel usually gets a lot of the goal line work, which is eat into that Tony Pollard value.
He's a powerful freaking runner. He's a powerful runner. On the other side, though, for the Chicago Bears, I am glad this is the second game in a row in which Matt Eberfleet and the coaching staff is utilizing the game plan around Justin Fields' skill set and not the other way around, and not trying to utilize him and put him into their offensive game plan. They're actually catering to his strengths, using more zone reads, RPOs, quarterback draws. You saw a couple of them today, right, Chris, in that game? And then also Khalil Herbert. He's just been a godsend this year. He's going to get paid. He's a dog. He's going to get paid after this season. I am sure he'll either get a contract extension.
I don't even think he's a free agent. He's only in his second season. I don't think he's even a free agent yet. But
he has to get something. He's gonna get something.
But the Bears, they did win time of possession by almost over 10 minutes in this game. So yeah, 22 first downs for 24 to Dallas. Like, this is a pretty even game actually, outside of the scoreboard. Let's talk real quick about the Roquan Smith trade. The Bears got a second and a fifth in it. Just quick analysis on what you think about the trade, and what do you think? Which team do you think came off better between the two sides when it comes to the Roquan Smith trade?
I'm gonna say. Man, you know what? I'm going to say the Baltimore Ravens short term. I mean, short term and long term in a way. Both are winners because, one, the Bears are just accumulating draft capital assets, and they have the most to spend in the offseason. So they got a second and a fifth. So you got 2 seconds. You got another fifth in next year's draft. So, you know, they're if they can hit on a lot of these picks or flip them for some players, the Bears' future is bright. And then on the flip side, the Ravens get a middle linebacker for the next 8 years or so.
I actually think both these teams came out pretty good on this trade. I would have liked to have got the Bears a little more value out of it, but this is what it is.
I agree.
They should have got more picks?
I would have liked to have seen them gotten a second and a fourth, or even a second and a third. I mean, Roquan Smith is one of the premier linebackers in the National Football League.
Mm-hmm.
He's not
he
the best
definitely.
linebacker in football.
No, he's not the best linebacker in football, but he's definitely one of the best. I will say that much. But I like this move for Baltimore because it gives them a linebacker that can play all three downs in different coverages, kind of solidify everything in the front seven for that Baltimore defense. He can play sideline to sideline. He's a ball hawk and he gets to the ball, meaning, like I just said, he plays from sideline to sideline. And I just think it's a great move for them. Like Baltimore wants to win, and this I think catapulted them into the right direction.
Yeah. Moving on from this game, we got a battle between the AFC East and the NFC North, where Miami goes into Ford Field, comes out the W against the Detroit Lions, 31-27. Tua, 26 of 36. 382 yards, 3 touchdowns in this game. Raheem Mostert, leading rusher for the Miami Dolphins, 14 for 64. Tyreek Hill, 12 catches for 180 yards, but Jalen Waddle and Mike Gesicki get the touchdowns for the Miami Dolphins. Jared Goff, 27 of 37, 321, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions. Jamal Williams, 2 rushing touchdowns on the ground. DeAndre Swift returned in this game and also had a receiving touchdown for the Detroit Lions. TJ Hockenson, leading receiver, with 3 for 80 yards. This is probably the best game that Tua has played this season, arguably. The efficiency, 26 of 36, 382 yards and 3 touchdowns. That's getting it done.
Yeah, you can make a case. I mean, I still think it's the one in Baltimore where he led them back from like 14 down and threw 4 touchdowns. And he threw 4 touchdowns in a quarter.
That's true. I mean, it's close.
Yeah, but I told you guys Tyreek Hill was going to have a huge game on this secondary. 12 catches, 188 yards. This guy's averaging 120 yards receiving per game this year. I mean, look at the impact that he's having on this Miami offense. Get it to him and then just move the hell out the way, pretty much. But this was a game Miami had to grind out. This was not a cakewalk. There's no such thing as a cakewalk in the National Football League.
No.
Everybody can see that. Izzy, you and I talk about this all the time. Everybody can see that. And I always say, look, there's no such thing as an easy game in the National Football League.
No, it's any given Sunday, man. Detroit played well for almost, most of the game. I mean, they played well,
First half. At least they didn't score in the second half.
You said what?
They didn't score a point in the second half.
Yeah, they played well. They let Miami back in the third quarter. I think Miami took the lead late in the third quarter, if I'm not mistaken. But
it was 27-17 at halftime. Detroit did not score again. Miami put up 14 points in the third quarter, and that was all she wrote.
and by halftime, I think both Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle had over 100 yards receiving, if I'm not mistaken. I think so. Man, dude, I mean, Detroit's defense is just garbage. But I mean, offensively, I mean, you see something there, right?
Yeah.
And we've seen it all year. This I fear Coach Campbell's job after this season. I know it's only year 2, but they haven't made those strides defensively that you hope to see them make. They don't have anybody in the defensive backfield. I mean, this was just a bad matchup. You're going against 2 of the fastest wide receivers in the league. And I mean, this was just a straight, a shootout, especially in the first half with Detroit scoring, 27 points. So, this is a good win for Miami and Tua, right? It's a confidence builder going into the rest of the season. You were down going into halftime, came back, pulled one out on the road, and now you continue to build on this. And I mean, him, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and even Mike Gesicki, they look in sync. So, yeah.
Moving on from this game, we got a battle between the NFC West and NFC North. Minnesota coming out with the victory, 34-26 over the Arizona Cardinals. Kyler Murray, 31 of 44, 326, 3 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. He also led this team in rushing yards, 9 carries for 36 yards. DeAndre Hopkins, Rondale Moore, Zach Ertz all had receiving touchdowns in this game. So DeAndre Hopkins has been money since he came back. 12 catches again in this game, 156 yards. And then on the Minnesota side of this, Kirk Cousins, 24-36, 232, 2 touchdowns. Dalvin Cook, Alexander Mattison, Kirk Cousins all had receiving touchdowns in this game. KJ Osborne and Johnny Mond had the receiving touchdowns for this team.
The thing with Minnesota, the reason why they won this game is because when they were in the red zone, they capitalized. Remember I said that when we were doing a preview show last week, if Minnesota can come away with efficiency in the red zone, they will win this football game. And look at what happened.
I think they won 4-4.
Yeah, I think so too. But I'm gonna take a page out of Davis' book. If y'all didn't see that DeAndre Hopkins catch, the one-handed one,
that was
man. Sweet. Look. Here's the thing, Izzy.
That's for a reason, man.
Izzy, that was almost like a playing basketball. When you're playing great defense on a shooter, you're all in his face, but he just somehow gets a shot off. That was hand down, man down. Basically, yeah. I mean, look, that's great coverage from Harrison Smith. He did everything right. You just saw the wide catch radius of DeAndre Hopkins on display there.
Oh yeah, that was a hell of a catch. And then like literally after that, Kirk Cousins throws a wobbler into 3 Cardinals to Justin Jefferson, and Justin Jefferson makes like this crazy adjustment to make the catch. Like it was like a 20 or 30 yard. Did you catch that one too? Yeah, Justin Jefferson
did.
Really good at football. Yeah, down to the muff pump for Greg Dortch.
Yep.
That the Cardinals had the momentum, and they looked like they were going to get the ball back and they were going to score again. And Greg Dortch ends up muffing the punt, fumbling it, and then the Vikings score another touchdown. They kind of put it a little bit out of reach. And then Zadarius Smith had a big game too. I believe he had a couple sacks in his game, if I'm not mistaken. And just the Arizona Cardinals, offensive line just isn't, it isn't built to protect Kyler that long enough, because you could see it like in that last drive where they were kind of moving the ball down the field. They just needed to give him a little bit of, a little bit more time for him to, navigate and find his wideouts. And they just couldn't, man. And you could see like they need to improve on the tackles on the edge. They, when they're facing elite edge rushers, they can't really protect Kyler Murray. And also even the interior line, that offensive line isn't, it's pretty much below average in my opinion. They can't run the football. They can't protect Kyler Murray for too long. And sometimes he's out there like a chicken with his head cut off. But I mean, he threw it 44 times, 326. And I mean, the offense looks it looks way more explosive with DeAndre Hopkins in there. And then it opens up Rondale Moore too. That play that Rondale Moore that he took to the house was magnificent. Yeah, I think Arizona will be okay. It's crazy that Seattle is in first place in the NFC West. That is crazy right now.
Yeah. With Minnesota, I'm still not sold on them because they don't put teams away. The only team they put away, sorry, Izzy, was your guys, Green Bay. But other than that, they should have beat the Bears by double digits. They should have beat Miami by double digits. They should have won this game yesterday by double digits. David, this is what I was talking about yesterday. When you have a team down, you got to keep your foot on their neck.
Yep. Moving on from that game, talking about a team that did have their foot on the neck and did finish. Las Vegas Raiders going into the Bayou and getting blanked 24-0 against the New Orleans Saints. Derek Carr, 15 of 26, 101 yards and 1 interception. Josh Jacobs coming off of 3 games in a row with big stats, 10 carries for 43 yards in this game. Mac Hollins, the leading receiver for the Las Vegas Raiders, 7 catches for 64 yards. Devontae Adams held to 1 catch in this game. And then on the New Orleans side of this, Andy Dalton, 22 of 30, 229, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Taysom Hill had a good game here, 1 catch, 1 pass for 2 yards. Alvin Kamara, 18 carries for 62 yards and a touchdown. He also had 2 touchdowns through the air. This is the Alvin Kamara show for damn sure in this game against the Las Vegas Raiders. Thoughts?
So my question, go ahead, Izzy. You go first.
Oh no, I was gonna say there was one play where Alvin Kamara wasn't even touched. Up until like he was out like about to cruise into the end zone, and he just like literally stiff armed this guy right into the touchdown. I mean, he was just even the play where he got stuck at the line, where he got hit at the 1, and then he just reaches the ball out. That's just high football IQ right there for Alvin Kamara. That Saints defense was really bothering Derek Carr all game long. They had 3 sacks on him. I'm trying to look up how many quarterback hits. It looks like every time Derek Carr was dropping back, he was getting whacked. He was getting hit.
They had 9 quarterback hits in this game, 9 to go along with the 3 sacks that he took. So 9 quarterback hits on top of that.
And he dropped back 26 times. It just seems like he was rushed on all his throws. I don't even know how many hurries they had, but it just seemed like the whole game Derek Carr wasn't in the rhythm. What's his name? He wasn't in the rhythm as well.
Devontae
Smith. Yeah, Devontae Adams. Yeah, he wasn't in the rhythm as well. And also, they couldn't get the running game going either, man. Josh Jacobs has been very impressive, for the last 3 games. 10 carries, 43 yards.
I mean, in the Raiders' defense, they were down early in this game. 17-0 at halftime. Tack on another touchdown right after that. 10 carries. He was running. He was running okay at 4.3 at a clip.
Yeah, but then they only gave it to him 10 times. So I understand. They kind of abandoned it in the halftime, but I feel like if you're gonna come out halftime, if you're gonna come out in the third quarter, right, Christian? I would say let's get one good drive to get down there and score a touchdown. And how about the ball to Josh Jacobs, 8 times in this drive. Let them run it. Let's run it down their throat, and let's because teams have been able to run the football on New Orleans a little bit this season. So I just I don't see the game plan there with Las Vegas, and kudos to New Orleans. They played a hell of a game.
My thing is with the Saints, where's this team been all year long? I know David was high on them coming into the year, and I was high on them too. I had them as one of my 3 playoff teams, one of my 3 wild cards in the NFC playoffs. But I look at this performance, like they were dominant on both sides of the ball. And then you also ask yourself, what's their identity? Because they really haven't had one since Drew Brees retired. They were a little bit more balanced when Drew was playing. Yeah, they could run the ball, but primarily they wanted to throw it, and they spread the ball around better than any other team in the National Football League during those days. Now, I know Alvin Kamara's been in and out the lineup. This is the best I've seen him look in quite some time. Feed him the ball, make him your focal point of the offense, and carry the hell on, as Kendrick Perkins would say. Move out the way and let him do what he does. And that's exactly what happened. And the Raiders, they should be ashamed of themselves. Like, I don't know if they had too many beignets or they were drunk off gumbo, because they definitely didn't show up. That's unacceptable. You mean to tell me you flew across the country to come away with no points? That's unacceptable. Someone needs to go to grandma's house.
Look, Christian, my thing is, for the Saints, through the air, their defense hasn't been playing well all season, pretty much, right? But teams have been able to run on them. 900 yards allowed so far this season, 4.5 a carry, 112.5 yards per game allowed this season on the ground. I don't see why the Raiders weren't sticking to the run in this game, and it kind of hurt them in a way.
Moving on for this game, let's swing into the AFC East. So we got the New England Patriots going into East Rutherford, New Jersey, pulling out the victory against the New York Jets, 22-17. Mac Jones, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, 24 of 35. Ramondre Stevenson, 16 carries for 71 yards. He also led this team in receiving yards, 7 for 72. Jacoby Myers had the lone receiving touchdown for the New England Patriots. On the Jets side of this, up and down showing here from Zach Wilson, 20 of 41, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 355 yards. Michael Carter, 7 of 26. Tyler Conklin had both of the receiving touchdowns for the New York Jets. And I also welcome now into the TJ Hopkins into the show. Welcome into the TJ show. Happy Halloween, my friend. Let's talk a little bit about Jets.
Welcome
Patriots
to the show. You're speaking too fast there, David.
Patriots, Jets. TJ.
Sorry, I'm late.
Always late. God, it be your own kind that's always late. Damn.
Man, shit. Man.
Anyway, I'm gonna deal with you. I'm gonna deal with you accordingly.
No, you're not.
This is one of those games where it's like you hype yourself up because if you're the Jets, you've lost the last 12 straight to the Patriots or something like that. It's not been a pleasant rivalry for you. and you finally think like you had a team to, go in and show them that, hey, we here now. You ain't finna punk us. You ain't finna bully like you've been doing. And this is coming off a game where you're coming off a high, like right. You manhandle the Packers, and then the Patriots get manhandled by a Bears team, got manhandled by Dallas, and it's like we got this.
They won the last 13 in a row,
including yesterday.
Yeah.
So now you lost 13 in a row, and Zach Wilson, what you saw on some of the picks, but it wasn't what you thought it was, right? Like them nobody was open. Those were just, I don't know what that was. Like there was no excuse for you to throw some of those passes that you threw, and it's just one of those where it's like, damn, we just can't beat the Patriots. We just can't beat Bill Belichick. That's what.
Speaking of Bill Belichick, shout out to Bill Belichick. Congratulations, passing George Papa Bear Hallis for second all time with his 325th victory in this game.
If you want to go do that against us, I'm just throwing that out.
Hey, he would have. That would have been perfect. Oh my God.
No, but and I don't know what, like, it was just that third quarter. That third quarter was a nightmare, right? You guys outscored 13-0 in the third quarter. All right, it was 13-10, then it was 16-10, then it was 19-0, and then you just never looked back. All right, and 20 of 41, 355, 3 picks. Like, okay, that's just not gonna do it. And now Jets fans can kind of wonder why Robert Saleh is kind of conservative when it comes to the Jets running their offense, because of that.
Yeah, 100%. It's still some growing pains there for Zach Wilson.
Yeah,
but yeah, Christian.
I mean, look, that was, well, number one, CJ. That's how you really feel. Okay, I deal with you accordingly. That was vintage Bill Belichick that you saw yesterday. What did I say? He does what you like. He takes away what it is that you like to do best. And what's been the Jets' bread and butter during this winning streak? They've been able to consistently pound the rock and run the football in between the tackles and been able to bounce outside. Not yesterday. Belichick loaded up that box.
But no Brees Hall either.
Yeah, right.
I mean, James Robinson only had 5 carries in this game. They're still trying to get.
Yeah,
they only ran the ball 15 times in a game where they only lost by a touchdown.
Yeah, but then again, like I said, this is just a vintage Belichick game plan. Forcing Zach Wilson to beat them, and I mean, he made an interception where he was pushed out the pocket, and I'm thinking he's throwing it out of bounds, and there's a Patriot defender right there.
That's pride, though, Christian, because look what the Bears did to them last week on the ground.
That's pride.
That's pride right there. You come in next week, you say, hey, I better not see that again. Another team running for over 200 yards against this unit, and they did that. They stopped the run from the get-go, and the Jets and Robert Saleh feel like, okay, we got to get things done through the air, and they made, like you said, made Zach Wilson try to make plays, and he tried to do too much. As to TJ's point, trying to do too much with some of those interceptions that he threw, and he threw it into some bad coverage, some good coverage that the Patriots were baiting them into. So,
moving on from this game, we got the beat down in Pennsylvania after this, where the Pittsburgh Steelers lost 35-13 to those Philadelphia Eagles as they remain undefeated. Pittsburgh Steelers passing 25 of 38, 191 yards and a pick for Kenny Pickett. Jalen Warren was the leading running back for the Pittsburgh Steelers. 6 carries, 50 yards. Pat Freiermuth, leading receiver, 4 for 57. Derek Watt had the lone receiving touchdown from Chase Claypool in this game. Jalen Hurts, another virtuoso for Mr. Jalen Hurts. 19 of 28, 285, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. Miles Sanders, receiving touchdown. A.J. Brown had a field day against this defense. 6 catches for 156 yards, 3 touchdowns. Zach Pascal had 1 as well.
Hey! Stop stealing my lingo, David. Talking about he had another virtuoso. Yeah, I bet. Yeah. Anyways, AJ Brown, I'm gonna say this. I don't even think I got much to say about this game because I knew Philly was gonna be dominant. AJ Brown had a hell of a game. He had so much of a good game that the next day Roger Goodell gave his ass a random drug test. Like, damn boy, you played so damn well, I gotta drug test you. How many players can say that?
I've never liked that about the NFL. Like this, it's not the first time that they've done this. Like we've seen them do this before, and it's like, yo, just because I had a good game, don't mean I'm on something, right? Like that's not what that means. Like, I don't like that. So like, let's say who they play, who does Philly play next week?
Like, I don't know.
All right, like anyway, let's just say like he has another game like this. You gonna drug test him again?
Going up against you're going against the Texans. He may have a good game like this again.
Right. So you gonna drug test him again, or let's just say like Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry that ran for 200 yards against the Texans like 5 times. Has he ever gotten drug tested after running for 200 yards against them?
But I think the big thing here is that this Eagles defense, everything about the Eagles right now is just scary good. Like this is the best team in the NFL by far.
Yeah, David, you just led me to my point. Like they're like that. But I want to say this, TJ, from a disrespectful standpoint, ain't nobody gonna point at me after beating me in a double team. Like they can't be my son.
No,
They can't be my son.
Hell
like,
no, you gotta see me. Hey,
like you really think you coming home to eat after getting your ass beat the double team?
Hey, you know what? We catching them in the tunnel like Michigan State caught that Michigan player.
God, listen, but to David's point, like this team is like that, and the reason why I say that is because we knew they could run the ball, right? We knew they had the good offensive line to get downhill, and we knew they had the punishing defense. They throw so many different looks at you. It was the passing game, and they went and they added an element in AJ Brown. He brings toughness, he brings charisma, he stretches the field vertically, and he brings swagger. I mean, look at how they were dancing yesterday. And I see people on Twitter yesterday, oh, that's unacceptable. You don't want him dancing. Don't let his ass get in the end zone. Don't let him score.
Hey, they pulled the
plain and simple.
They pulled the stomp the yard dance. I mean, when they pulled that out,
Look. I mean, this Eagles team is rolling right now. I think they're gonna go through November unbeaten. They might not lose their first game until December.
The AJ Brown move, it's like you look at like that's the trend, right? We saw Stephon Diggs to Buffalo, Josh Allen improved almost immediately. Kyler Murray got DeAndre Hopkins. There was an improvement.
Bingo. Yup.
Immediately. Hell, Tua gets Tyreek Hill the first month of the season. You're like, oh, okay. Immediate improvement.
Yeah, it's funny how you start to play better when you have some actual wide receivers around you. It's funny how that all works out.
I mean, look, last year. I mean, think about it. Last year, all they had were kind of like underneath guys. You know, now you have that vertical threat who can do so much. Like AJ Brown, he's a menace with the football in his hands. He makes those catches in traffic. You know, he's a concise route runner. He does everything for the team. He blocks. I think that's where he's at his best.
Can you imagine? Now, can you imagine all the rumors in Hoopla if they added Alvin Kamara to this?
Oh, that's rude.
They got to do it today or tomorrow. So, moving on from this game, let's talk about the AFC South here a little bit. Tennessee going into the Houston Texans and coming out with the victory 17-10. Malik Willis did get his first career NFL start, but none of it matters besides 32, 219, and 2 touchdowns for Derrick Henry. I'm not even going to bother going through the rest of the stats. This Titans team goes as Derrick Henry will carry them and will them to as far as they're going to go.
Look, y'all know.
They're quietly 5-2.
First place,
quietly,
David.
Yeah,
y'all know the rule by now. You better have game. If you have, finish it, David.
2 first names.
My man, he didn't even know you said that real unenthusiastically. But I'll deal with you after the show.
I think Derrick Henry's the exception to the rule because like he is like single-handedly bigger than all of us, and you ain't finna tell him he ain't got a game because he got 2 first names. 32-2. Yeah. You again, pride has to kick in at some point, and I understand you are the Houston Texans. You're not going to be a really good team. But at some point in time, when it's just turn around, hand the ball off to him, turn around, hand the ball off to him, like you have to be like, all right, goddamn it, enough is enough. Somebody take his kneecaps out. Somebody do something.
He run high as hell. He run high as hell. So yeah, I mean, it won't be that hard to do that. But
like, somebody take his kneecaps out. Like, do something. Like, I'm not feeling like my mama here. I'm not gonna get embarrassed.
Yeah, man, yeah. And I always say, if you gonna tackle Derrick Henry, tackle him high. No, go low. Sorry, go low. Go for his legs.
You know this though. You gotta when you play Derrick Henry, you gotta get him. You gotta get him early in the box. You can't just start to try and tackle him once he gets to the second level. Because once he gets to the second level, it's a wrap. Because once he gets going, it's hard to bring him down. So you gotta get him at the point of attack at the line. Because once he gets past the line, once he gets to the linebackers, it is a wrap.
I'm not even giving Malik Willis credit for his first win in the NFL. Like, no, Derrick Henry won this game.
Yeah.
So as far as I'm concerned, Malik Willis, you still 0-0, right? You ain't getting credit for
anything. He literally
they only asked him to throw the ball 10 times. He completed 60% of his passes. That's not terrible.
They said hand the ball off to Derrick Henry. That's all you gotta do.
That's all you gotta do.
The only time, but remember Friday Night Lights when Booby was like the only time the only thing you gotta last is when you them 2 seconds when you gotta hand the ball off to me or something like that. That's all you have to do, Malik Williams. The only existence you had was getting the ball and handing it off to Derrick Henry. You couldn't mess that up. Derrick
Henry had more yards probably than the entire Texan team. He kept they barely beat him out. They
fall to 1-5. Moving into the other team in the AFC South, we got the Commanders and the Colts. Commanders come out with the victory 17-16. Tyler Heineke, 23 of 31, 279, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. He also led the team in rushing yards, 6 carries for 29 yards and a touchdown. Scary Terry, 6 catches for 113 yards, and Tony Gibson had the lone receiving touchdown. And then on the Colts side, the Sam Ellinger making his first career start, 17 of 23. Jonathan Taylor, 16 carries for 76 yards. Naheem Hines had the lone receiving rushing touchdown.
And a horrible fumble, Jonathan Taylor. Hey, and you know what? What made another difference? That goal line stand. When Jonathan Taylor got the ball at the 1 and they couldn't score a touchdown there. That proved to be key in the game as well. And David, don't be disrespectful when you talk about when you say Taylor Heineke's name. Give him the right name, okay? Taylor
6-pack of
Heineke, because he came in and gave a tutty to win the game on a quarterback sneak. Okay, Taylor Heineke.
He did account for both the touchdowns for the Washington Commanders, but this is a game that Washington can't feel great about. This is a game you should have won easily. Like, for real. The fact that they had to basically scratch and claw and pull this one out of the victory is pretty embarrassing.
What's called?
Oh, no. Sorry, go ahead.
I saw a stat. I think it said something like Colts starting QBs in their first game are like 1-15.
Sounds about right.
If you're a Colts quarterback and like this is your first time starting for them, like you're like 1-15, or now you're 1-16.
My cat just came back over here. She doesn't have her Halloween costume on anymore.
It's so sad. It's so sad. But anyway, so like we saw 2 instances in where a receiver catches either the game tying or the go ahead touchdown, like the Hail Mary touchdown, and Terry McLaurin didn't get fined for his, mainly because there was a timeout call which allowed him to take his helmet off and celebrate that way. DJ Moore, be smarter. That's all I'm gonna say, because I don't want.
We said that. We
did say that.
Be smarter.
Be smart.
We be smart. That was a hell of a catch though by Terry, and he showed out in front of the home crowd, in front of his hometown crowd.
David, to your point, if I'm the Commanders, I don't like. I took a Hail Mary to Terry McLaurin to basically win the game. That deep should have ate Sam Ellinger alive, and the fact that he was, I don't know, 50 seconds away from winning that game says a lot more about the Commanders than it does the Colts. It's like Izzy, you brought up the goal line stand. Like we kind of like we saw that here, right? It's hard to run on that Washington. It's hard to run on that Washington front. Like it's hard. And was this Chase Young's first game back? Was he back for this game?
I don't think he even played in this game.
Good God.
No, I mean, like I said, and Jonathan Taylor, I mean, that fumble, like he got past the second level of the defense. He ran for like 15, 20, and then he just coughs the ball up while they have momentum. So there's two times in which I look at this game for the Colts, and I'm like, yo, you could have you could have extended your own, like you could have like went ahead and kind of extended the lead or took over this game. It was that, and then it was the goal line stand. Both included Jonathan Taylor, and I can't really put blame on the second, the goal line stand, because it's like, this offensive line is no longer they're no longer a premier offensive line, in my opinion. They're just not physical enough anymore, and I know they're going against that front seven, which is pretty damn good even without Chase Young, but it's like you can't punch it in for 1 yard with Jonathan Taylor. Like, come on now. So
I mean, it's tough, man. Like it's shit. That's the NFL. It's tough.
I know that, but come on, man. It's Jonathan Taylor. That offensive line is supposed to be young. They're supposed to be good. I mean, 2 years ago, we were talking about this offensive line being one of the premier offensive lines, or not even if not the best.
Well, I mean, their interior has always been solid. It's the tackle positions that are kind of been a mess. I mean, they've been evolving to left tackle, right tackle. So yeah, it's going to be a work in progress.
Where they ran the football though, they ran the football inside though.
Yeah,
they ran the football inside, and they got.
I mean, Ryan Kelly's been in and out of the lineup. I mean, I don't know who's playing right guard for them right now, but yeah, let's moving on from that game. Let's talk about the NFC West. San Francisco 49ers beating the Los Angeles Rams 31-14. All you need to know about this game when it comes to stats is Chris McCaffrey had himself a day. He threw a touchdown, he ran for a touchdown, and he caught a touchdown. Last time that was done is in 2006. I think it's only been done 14 times in the history of the league. So good for Chris McCaffrey. But this Rams team has a real problem right now because they just can't get pressure under the quarterback, and they can't generate consistent offense without having to rely on Cooper Kupp, who did get hurt during this game, but does not seem to be serious.
This goes to show the 49ers really own the Rams in the regular season, because they're just so physical at the point of attack. They get downhill, they wear them down, and the rest is history. But yeah, how about Christian McCaffrey? Because he kind of filled in that Debo role yesterday. Able to run the ball, okay? Got that score. Able to catch the ball out the backfield, get him in space, move out the way, let him do what he does. And I mean, it's good to see him healthy, and it's good to see him contribute on a team that's a contender, because this really wouldn't mean anything if he's still playing at Carolina right now. 49ers just got a ton of pressure on Matthew Stafford. There's a lot of problems right now in LA. I actually gave my take on it on the website. Stafford looks scared for his life every time he's dropping back to make a pass. Outside of Cooper Kupp, who on that offense scares you? They can't run the ball. The offensive line isn't great. And defensively, I've been saying it all year, Aaron Donald shouldn't be your best pass rusher.
And that Cam Akers situation is
it's messy.
It's messy. It's getting sticky. Christian McCaffrey, his football IQ is really high. That receiving touchdown, he basically he didn't have a route. He basically it was basically, he was just a decoy coming out to the flat. He didn't have a route. He saw the opening downfield once Jimmy Garoppolo went through all his reads, went straight past the defense to the end zone and caught that ball for the touchdown. His football IQ is out this world. He's just a hell of a football player. I think Brandon Ayuk is the best pure wide receiver on his team. Debo's made in the same role as Christian McCaffrey. He's just a football player. He does everything well, but I think when it comes to like being a pure wide receiver, having a great route tree, Brandon Ayuk is better than Debo, at that. at being a wide receiver running routes, in my opinion. Not
Oh.
not being a better player, but I said being a wide receiver, running routes and stuff like that. Finding the soft zones in the defense. And when I look at the defense, man, yeah, man, their defense can really get after it. They're physical. They can stop the run. They can stop the pass. I mean, yeah, this is a Super Bowl contender right here. And Jimmy Garoppolo, let's give him some credit. 21 to 25. He had 2 touchdowns. He was real consistent in this game. And if he can play like this every single game, they'll be in good. They will be, right there to win the Super Bowl. They'll be right there in the NFC Championship game.
So last time a player threw a touchdown, caught a touchdown, and passed for a touchdown, LT. Who did it before that? In 2001.
Ooh, Priest Holmes?
No.
Ooh.
You're not getting this. I'll be honest with you.
Give me the team. Give me the team.
It was against the Colts in 2001.
What team was it?
Patriots.
Oh.
Is that Deion Branch?
Nope.
Ooh. 2001?
Yeah.
2001. Oh, man. Wasn't Corey Dillon? No, couldn't have been Corey Dillon.
Yeah, you're not getting this. It was David Patton.
Oh, no.
And then after that, before that,
Curtis Martin was on the Jets.
It was his sweetness himself, Walter Payton, in 1979. But yeah, I mean, this is a San Francisco team. Like this Rams team is searching for answers. They just don't have offensively or defensively right now. They can't figure it out. Like they're just not going well.
Like this is definitely one of the teams that's like they need to make a move. They need to make a move, but they don't have anything to give up.
Nope.
To make a move. Right?
I mean, this is what happens when you trade away all your draft picks. When players get hurt, I mean, you don't have reliable backups that can fill those gaps.
Hey, they can use Odell if he come back.
They can use just about anybody at wide receiver right now for real.
They can use Elijah Moore, who's not happy in New York right now.
Absolutely, like that. They need some. I don't think today. To Christian's point, like if Aaron Donald's not creating pressure on defense, nobody's creating pressure. Nobody is scared of Leonard Floyd beating his man consistently on the line because that was like the biggest gripe against him in Chicago. Like you weren't, like you should have been better here. Like you had the one good year you had. Obviously, y'all did win the Super Bowl. You got paid off of that. Now it's time to, return the favor. Like you showed us you can do it. Now do it. And I don't know what the draft situation is looking like for them coming up, but I fully expect that to be a heavy defensive focus for Les Snead and the crew.
Yep, because I think they're okay on offense for the most part. Moving on from this game, let's talk about the New York Football Giants. 13-27 fall into the Seattle Seahawks. Sorry, Christian, they fall to 6-2. Seattle, shockingly, is #1 team in the NFC West now. Daniel Jones, 17 of 31, 179 yards. 20 of 53 for Saquon Barkley and a touchdown. No receiving touchdowns for the New York Giants. On Seattle side of this, Geno Smith continues to play well. 23 of 34, 212 yards, 2 touchdowns. Kenneth Walker, 18 carries, 51 yards, and a touchdown. DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett had receiving touchdowns for the Seattle Seahawks.
And Tyler Lockett dropped a
gimme touchdown.
Dime. He dropped a dime from Geno Smith.
He did make up for it by catching the one later.
Yeah, he did.
It was a much harder touchdown to catch.
He did.
Christian, this is your team. Give me some analysis on what you saw.
I mean, God, I had the Giants losing this game. I just knew that would be tough for them going to the West Coast, and they just weren't really able to get into a rhythm. I know they've been down in damn near every game this year, and they've been able to fight back, but they couldn't do that yesterday. The Giants have problems with teams with heavy rushing attacks, and I knew that was going to be an issue coming into this one. Seattle, they play ugly football because you almost have to bring your breakfast, your lunch, and your dinner when you play them. Because man, they're physical. They're gonna wear you down. They're getting good play out of Geno Smith. Who would have thought going into November the Seattle Seahawks to be in first place right now in the
Nobody.
NFC West, because I'm thinking this is a complete rebuild. And I even remember saying when I previewed the NFC West, yeah, we'll focus on Seattle in 2023. I don't know if they read that, and this is just their way of saying, child please. If you don't know what child please means, go ask Ocho Cinco. I'm trying to be professional.
Geno Smith is and that young defense too. But Geno Smith, since training camp was out. We all thought, when they traded Russell Wilson for Drew Lock, we thought that he was going to be the guy. But Geno Smith has been outplaying that guy. He's outplayed that guy since training camp, and he literally took hold of that team. He's top 10 in passing yards. He's number 8, the 8th passer in terms of passing yards. He's tied for 5th in touchdown passes, 13 touchdowns. Tied for 5th with 3 interceptions only, and he's number 4 overall in the league in QBR. So Geno has played lights out this year so far, and also that young defense has played pretty well this year. And then the revelation of Kenneth Walker, he adds a completely different dimension to that offense now that he, since he's come back and played healthy, and he's clearly, favorite for offensive rookie of the year, in my opinion, right now. So
now that Breece Hall is out.
Now that Breece Hall is out, it's not a 2-man race no more.
When they first initially traded for Drew Lock, reporters asked Pete Carroll about the quarterback situation, and Pete Carroll was the first one to say, Geno's still here. Like, Geno Smith is still here. And to be fair to Geno Smith, it wasn't fair most to assume that Drew Lock was just going to come right in and start, because Geno Smith should have outplayed him in training camp, because Geno Smith knows the offense.
Mm-hmm.
He's been there. He's been there. He's been there the last 2-3 seasons or something like that, right? Like he's been, so he should know what to do and what not to do and all that good stuff. So I think it's fair to say, because of how he's playing this season so far right now, that as of right now, the Seattle Seahawks are not in the market for one of those young quarterbacks coming out in the draft this year.
I don't think they're gonna be drafting high enough to even get them at this point. And
Geno Smith has definitely played his way into a new contract, and kudos to him for doing that, because the whole I know people made fun of him for the whole they wrote me off, but I ain't right back quote, and it's like, all right, dude, calm down. It's just one game. It's your first start, as a starting quarterback in 9 years. Just easy, just calm down. But he has completely changed the opinion of him. Not to mention he's outplaying the guy that they got shipped away. And Tyler Lockett had an interview after the game. He's like, it's funny how, it's funny how, when you win, everybody gets the credit versus just one dude. And we all know who the one dude is that he's talking about. Right?
Yeah.
You know what? Hey, TJ, also to say about Geno Smith, he's a great leader, man. When Tyler Lockett drops that ball, like that gimme, he threw a dime to him. He goes straight up to Tyler Lockett, and he gives Tyler Lockett encouragement and tells him, I'm going to throw you that ball again. I'm going to throw it to you again. And he did throw it to him again, and Tyler Lockett got on the board with a touchdown. So Geno Smith not only brings them intangibles as a leader as well, and it's really captivated that team.
Moving on to the final game of the weekend so far. Monday Night Football is happening right now, but Green Bay going into Orchard Park and getting sort of beat down by the Buffalo Bills, 27-17. I know it was only a 20-point victory, but it didn't feel that close. 27-17. Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers, 19 of 30, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Aaron Jones had a pretty good game here, 20 carries for 143 yards. And Romeo Dobbs and Samari Toure, I don't even know who that is, had a receiving touchdown for the Green Bay Packers. Josh Allen, 13 of 25, 218 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. And then Isaiah McKenzie had the lone rushing touchdown for this team. Stephon Diggs and Dawson Knox had the receiving touchdowns for the team as the Buffalo Bills go up 27-17 to move to 6-1.
Yeah, if I'm, you know what, I'll go first since I'm the lone Packer fan here. if I'm Jair Alexander, if you're gonna talk stuff before the game to Stephon Diggs, you better hold him under,
150 yards.
you better hold him. Yeah, you better
There you
not
go.
let him get 100 in a tutty. Okay, that's first of all. Second of all, yeah, I mean they, tired of Packer. Another thing, tired of Packer fans saying, "Oh, the Bills," because Kelsey got the offensive pass interference. There wasn't an offensive pass interference on Robert Tonyan. Yes, it was. That was offensive pass interference. He didn't get a touchdown. So what? Don't cry about it. Point blank is we just don't got the outside help for Rodgers. And they tried to run the football. You saw it yesterday. They gave the ball to Aaron Jones 20 times. He had 100.
They ran for 200 yards. They ran for 200.
Yeah, they ran for 200. I mean, they tried, but they just, when you're playing a team like Buffalo and they go up 24, you got to be able to make plays on the outside. You got to be able to have some type of passing game to keep them honest. Even though Green Bay was running the football effectively, it still didn't make a difference in this game because defensively, and here we go again with me. They sustained drives last week. They sustained drives this week, and yet you still couldn't keep Josh Allen from getting his, in the passing game. So if you're, the defense is really disappointed and let me down this year so far.
Yeah, what happened to the no-fly zone? And Josh Allen just had just an okay game here. I mean, 13 of 25, 218 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. Like he just was just okay in this game, in a game that they thoroughly dominated. And Josh Allen wasn't even that good.
I think one of the picks was definitely tipped, and I think right after the Jair Alexander pick, because that happened in the end zone.
He did get a pick. I forgot about that.
That happened in it, but it was like the damage was already done. Stephon Diggs already.
Stephon Diggs already had 108 touchdown.
That Romeo Doubs touchdown though was really nice.
Yeah, that was
trash to Stephon Diggs and let him have a game like that.
Like, that was a hell of a catch. That was a hell of a catch by Romeo Doubs. But after the Jair Alexander pick, I think Aaron Rodgers returned the favor and he threw a pick. It was like, okay, so we trading picks now, but it's just, I don't like. Again, I revert back to last week what Aaron Rodgers said about going, like, leading up to this. And he's like, I love it. Everybody's counting us out. Everybody's doing this. Like, it's a chance for us to go on national TV. And yeah, dude, like today was fun. You lost by 10, but it wasn't that close. It really was. Like, I don't think for a second people watching this game thought Green Bay was gonna win this game.
Hell no, garbage right now.
And Izzy, to your point about the Robert Tonyan OPI, RG3 is on Twitter saying that's not OPI, and Peanut Tillman was like, dude, yes it is. If DBs can't do that to tight ends and receivers as a defender, then offensive players can't do, like, you can't just throw a DB.
You can't just strong arm a DB 10 yards down the field. And I get the one about. I mean, you can make a case for the Travis Kelce one. I mean, that was finicky. You can make a case for that one. You could be like, nah, that wasn't. But Robert Tonyan literally strong armed the hell out of the DB onto the ground and got himself open. Stop complaining, man. Stop making excuses for the lack of playmaking at the wide receiver position. That is a problem, and it is a need. And also the defense. I mean, the defense is just not showing up when it matters.
And I'm going to steal Christian's point here before he gets in. Josh Allen, when you leading Russia, it was Devin Singletary. It was beautiful. I thought he had more than 67 yards though, because I thought he had more than that, but it is what it is.
In the first half, he had like 50-something yards. Right? I was in the first half.
I thought he had more than that, more than what he finished with. But go ahead, Chris. My bad.
I'll just say this: Buffalo didn't even look all that dominant, and they still won by 10 points. Right? Let that sink in. Let that marinate. Just let that sink in.
Let that marinate.
Yeah, just let it marinate. Yeah, that was offensive pass interference, but Kyer Elam also got away with a little bit of a hole as well. So it could have gone either way.
Could have gone either way.
Yeah, look, I'm just being honest. That could have been a 2-way penalty, but yeah, man, Buffalo was able to run the football, and Jair Alexander, like one of you just said, look, if you gonna talk, at least back your words up. Like, you can't come out here and become Buffalo Chicken Wings. I said Buffalo Chicken Wings. They was in Orchard Park playing the Buffalo Bills. Anyway, yeah, like you can't do that. Like, you can't do that. TJ, you already know where Jair gotta go.
Yep.
Where he gotta go?
He gotta go. He gotta go.
He gotta go to Granny. He gotta go to Grandma's house.
Hey, he ain't getting no plate made either.
Nah, not at all.
You ain't going home with nothing. You just going home with a lecture.
Right. Hey, is and y'all know them lectures from grandma. They hit a little different.
You sitting at the table for an hour.
But yeah, that's been our week 8 recap so far. But yeah, as we mentioned at the very top of the show, everybody have a very nice Halloween. Happy Halloween from everybody here at Prime Sports World. I've been David Huffman. Right there is Mr. Israel Vera, Christian Simpson, and TJ Hopkins. Gentlemen, what do we do here at the Prime, my friends?
We send your ass to Grandma's house.
We bring the heat, ladies.
We bring the heat, baby. You all have a happy Halloween. I will see you guys tomorrow when we break down Monday Night Football, and then we make our Week 9 predictions. Peace out, guys.
Let's go, Bengals.
Yep.
Let's go, Bengals is right. Peace
Joe
out.
Burrow threw a pick, so yeah.
Oh, no.